Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is George and I review watches. In this video, we are reviewing the new GMT offering by Specht Sohne. I couldn't find its official model name, but I'll link it down in the description on the official Specht Sohne AliExpress store. As you'll instantly recognize, this is an homage to the SEIKO 6117 Navigator Timer, which SEIKO also just recently reissued under their Prospects lineup. Quick note before we continue with our review, the 11/11 sale is coming up and I have some exclusive codes for you to save even more on your sale day purchases. You can find the codes in the description. To make sure you don't miss out on the sale, add your items you want to buy in your basket now and check out when the sale begins. Back to the review. Before we go any further with the Specht Sohne, let's take a quick look at the original SEIKO 6117 Navigator Timer. This was a travel watch introduced in the late 1960s, back when tool watches were designed for serious functionality and not just desk diving like we have today. The 6117 was one of SEIKO's first GMT watches, featuring a 24-hour rotating bezel, a classic and legible dial, and a slim case size that suited a variety of wrist sizes. Don't forget, back then, men's watches were a lot smaller in general than today. SEIKO reissued this model recently as part of their Prospects lineup, keeping the vintage style intact but with updated materials and a few modern touches. Specht Sohne has taken clear inspiration from this original design, capturing the 24-hour bezel, the retro-styled dial and the case shape, making this a solid homage for fans of the classic SEIKO. The vintage aesthetic is very much alive in this homage, with some modern adjustments that add a bit of flair to the watch. Starting with the unboxing, the Specht Sohne GMT arrives in a very compact white cardboard box, the usual one that Specht Sohne uses. Inside you'll find a microfiber cleaning cloth, a guarantee card and a price tag that says $680. Nothing fancy, but it gets the job done and is quite small, making it convenient for storage. After unboxing the watch and holding it in my hand for the first time, you can instantly tell that Specht Sohne has done a good job with the finishing and putting together this watch. It's quite hefty, more so than I expected. The case has a mix of different finishes, brushed top, polished sides and bottom surfaces, a rotating 24-hour bezel, a crown at 4 o'clock and a really unique bracelet design. But we'll cover all of that in detail later. Before getting into the specifics about this watch, I want to say a couple of things about the brand. Specht Sohne is a relatively new AliExpress brand that's already made quite an impact with some successful releases. They initially gained popularity with their Patek Philippe Aquanaut Homage and more recently with their Vacheron Constantin 222 model, which I have on order and I am waiting delivery, so subscribe to make sure you don't miss the upcoming review. Specht Sohne's lineup is definitely in the budget category, with most models priced under $150, making it an excellent brand to start your watch collection or dip your feet into the Chinese watch industry. But let's go back to the GMT model we have here. Currently, this watch retails for just under $90 and I'm pretty sure if you wait for the big 11/11 sale event, you'll be able to snag it for even less. This watch comes in a few variations. There's a 3-hand version with the NH35 movement and this GMT version with the NH34 movement, which adds the 4th GMT hand. Specht Sohne offers several different dial colors: black, blue, a brown gold, grey, green and a red one, which I think is the most interesting one. I went with the safer choice and opted for the blue dial, though there's also a silver dial version available in both GMT and 3-hand models. Overall, for under $90 and potentially less with sales or coupons, you're getting a lot of watch for the money: stainless steel, GMT functionality, a rotating bezel and solid finishing. That's a win in my book and it's a great starter watch for anyone looking to build a solid collection. Let's move on to the dimensions. The watch is listed on AliExpress as a 38mm, but my calipers measure it closer to 39mm, so it's a tad larger than advertised. The height is 12.7mm, including the domed crystal. The lug-to-lug measurement is 45.3, extending to 47mm if we include the end links. The lug width is a practical 20mm. Overall, I'd say this watch wears compact and true to a 39mm size thanks to the restrained lug-to-lug measurement and modest height. Considering this is a GMT watch for under $100, these dimensions are impressive. I have smaller wrists, so I usually prefer a lug-to-lug measurement of 47mm or less, and this one fits comfortably. I'd say it's well suited to wrists from 5.5 inches all the way up to 8 inches. Let's move on to the dial and design, which in my opinion is the most important and eye-catching aspect of any watch. As I mentioned, I chose the blue dial variant. The blue is a bit muted, no sunburst effect or anything flashy, but it's a nice shade that looks almost black in low lighting, then pops to a vivid blue in the sunlight. The hour markers are applied with a polished mirror finish, giving the dial a touch of elegance. The chapter ring has minute and hour markers, and each hour marker is filled with superluminova, a nice touch that's quite impressive at this price point. The hour and minute hands are simple baton style with polished finishing, and they've got a decent amount of lume for visibility in the dark. The second hand isn't lumed but contrasts well with the dial. The GMT hand is red with lume at the tip, making it easy to spot. We've also got a date window at 3 o'clock, and the dial itself is cleanly laid out with the brand name and automatic printed in white below the 12 o'clock marker and 100 meter water resistant above the 6 o'clock position. It's a harmonious design that works well, and while some might find it plain, I think it's versatile. Specht Söhne offers a lot of dial colors, so if you want something more vibrant, you could go with the red, brown or green version. But if you want to keep it classic and versatile, the blue, black, grey or silver are all good choices. Now let's talk about the case. The 39mm stainless steel case has a solid finishing with brushed surfaces on top, the back and sides are polished, and we have a brushed 24-hour rotating bezel. The bezel is tightly constructed with a satisfying crisp action and a lumed 12 o'clock pip. It only rotates counterclockwise, which, while it's not ideal for a GMT watch, and I assume that Specht Söhne overlooked this, hopefully if there's a new version of the watch they will update it to a bidirectional bezel, the same as on the SEIKO. The crown is located at the 4 o'clock position, securely nestled in the case so you can't accidentally unscrew it, another famous SEIKO feature. The winding action is crisp with no play, and overall it has a nice feeling. The crystal is advertised as sapphire on the official product listing page, and it's very slightly domed, giving that dial distortion when looked at an angle, which adds to the vintage feeling. The caseback is a display back, and although the NH34 movement isn't particularly decorated, it's always nice to see a movement through the caseback. Around the outer edge of the caseback, we've got the brand name engraved along with stainless steel, water resistant 100 meters and other basic details. Overall, the case finishing is solid, though a few of the edges are a bit sharp and could have used a bit more sanding down. Still, for under $90, I'd say it's well executed. Powering the Specht Söhne GMT is the SEIKO NH34 movement. This is a modified version of the NH35 with 24 jewels, a 41-hour power reserve and an added GMT hand. It operates at 21,600 beats per hour, giving a smooth second hand sweep, and that fourth GMT hand makes it easy to track a second time zone. SEIKO designed this as a color GMT, meaning the GMT hand adjusts independently, a nice feature for tracking different time zones, even if it's not a true GMT where the hour hand moves independently. You may have to reset the local time manually if you're moving between time zones, but for most this movement is a reliable, affordable choice for daily wear. Moving on to the bracelet, the Specht Söhne GMT comes with a stainless steel 5-row bracelet. It has 3 slim inner links and 2 wider outer links, all brushed with a bit of shine to them. The bracelet has a bit of a blocky, rustic feel with angular edges that adds to the vintage aesthetic and staying true to the original design. The clasp is a butterfly style with no micro adjustments, which may be a deal breaker for some. The bracelet itself feels a bit flimsy and the edges on the underside are a bit sharp. That said, I'm okay with the Specht Söhne cutting corners on the bracelet instead of the case or dial. You can always swap it out with a leather or rubber strap if you're after a different look, and the 20mm lug width will make changing straps and bracelets a breeze. As mentioned, the dimensions are one of the watch's strongest points. It's compact at 39mm in diameter, 12.7mm thick with a 12mm lug width, making it wearable on a variety of wrist sizes. Here are some wrist shots on my 6.75 inch or 17cm wrist for reference. Surprisingly, the Specht Söhne GMT has good lume for a budget watch. The hour, minute and GMT hands are lumed, as well as each hour marker on the chapter ring and the pip at 12 o'clock on the bezel. It provides adequate low light visibility and lasts decently long. Not the best lume out there, but one of the best at this price point. To wrap things up, the Specht Söhne 6117 Homage is a great budget GMT for beginners or collectors looking for a vintage-inspired GMT with compact and versatile dimensions and a reliable movement that allows you to track a second time zone. It's a well-executed homage with some flaws, particularly the quality and finishing of the bracelet, the lack of a micro adjustment clasp and the bi-directional bezel. All of these three areas could use improvement. But for under $90, it's a fantastic value, and if you're in the market for a budget GMT that won't break the bank, the Specht Söhne is a strong option. Alright, that's it for this review. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe for more watch reviews. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.